State Fullerton has done it. They've gone from
15 and 16, the champions of college baseball.
Welcome to the 1544 Miles to Omaha podcast, talking about the past, present, and future of Cal State Fullerton baseball.
3-2 pitch on Davis is a fastball hit to left and deep. Blazer doesn't even go back on it. It's that far out and gone. Looked like it went over the scoreboard. A home run by J.D. Davis.
0-2 swing and a miss, strike three. Cal State Fullerton is on to the College World Series.
Here's your host, Dave Lamb.
Welcome into episode 65 of the 1544 Miles to Omaha podcast. Today's guest is once again Cal State Fullerton head baseball coach Jason Dietrich. In today's episode, we'll be discussing with Coach the end of the fall ball practices, the two scrimmages against UNLV and Washington State, the Navy versus Orange 3-game series, and which players impressed Coach the most, improved the most, any surprises coming out of the fall season, and also discuss the 2023 Titan baseball schedule that was released in November. So welcome into the show, Coach, again. How was Thanksgiving break for you and the family?
It was great. Good to see you and good to be back. And yeah, right, we got a little break right now. Before you know it, blink of an eye, we'll be getting ready to play Stanford and have everyone out here and excited for that. So.
Well, you mentioned Stanford is going to be coming down here to Goodwin Field for the opener. The schedule was released in November, and the schedule was packed with traditional powerhouses in college baseball. Blue Beds. You mentioned Stanford opens the season. Michigan is coming back to Fullerton after going to Ann Arbor last year, traveling to Fort Worth to take on TCU during the Big West bye week. And the biggest surprise that came out of that schedule release was University of Texas is coming to Goodwin Field March 3rd through 5th. So how did the schedule come together and what went into putting it together?
Well, there's numerous things that I'm learning, the whole scheduling aspect. But when you try to do like a home and home with someone, we have that good relationship with Stanford. So we're going to do our best to keep on having, us go there, they come here, hopefully for years to come. And then Michigan was a return trip back here because we went there last year. Texas is a return trip. I guess Titans went out there a couple years ago.
2020.
So called Coach Pierce, and we talked, and he said they were good to come out that third week. And then we had a home and home with Pepperdine. They came out here last year, and we go there this year. And TCU, just sometimes scheduling, you're just seeing what weekends are open, and Sarlos and I talked, and that weekend happened to be open, and so we scheduled it. And we're excited to go there. And that's kind of how things happen for scheduling. You're just talking to certain colleagues, you're seeing who's in town for midweeks, and you try to keep your midweeks to, California's, you have a lot of schools, but at the same token, with the RPI and stuff, you're doing your best to try to get some out of state schools that are good to play here, and then play the local guys or the state of California guys. So it's a lot of little things I'm learning in scheduling, but we do our best to challenge ourselves and help us be ready for the Big West Conference.
So staying with the schedule, you talked about traveling outside of California and playing those types of teams, but I noticed that the Titans will only travel outside the state of California twice. The first road trip out of state doesn't come in until late April, traveling to Arizona State for a midweek 2-gamer. And then the other road trip, of course, comes to May 5th and through the 7th out to TCU. Was that by design to kind of keep everybody sleeping in their own beds?
It's just, it just happened to be, that's how it worked, to be honest with you. Especially the non-conference. We just had a lot of weekends that people were supposed to come to us, and so that's just how it worked for the non-conference games. And then we're trying to find midweeks, and we felt, ASU, as you know, in the past, the Titans have always played them, whether it be midweek or on a weekend. We thought it'd be good to reconnect with them again and get that going. So, yeah, it's not, you're limited with 4 weekends that are open now, 4 to 5. It all depends. And so we were fortunate to have 3 weekends to be home and 2 on the road. And so we're excited. Got to got to do our job. But, yeah, we're excited for, the schedule, and especially being home, and hopefully I'll have a lot of fans out here to support us.
Well, speaking of that, last thing about the schedule is the Titans fans are going to be treated to a ton of home games, especially to open up the season. The first 3 weekends are filled with Stanford, Michigan, and then Texas, of course. The midweek games are also going to be Tulane, USC and Utah before the first trip is not too far. It's up to Malibu to go play Pepperdine. So the Titans are going to be able to sleep in their own bed all the way into mid-March. Do you see that as being an advantage? You mentioned that you've got to take care of business and all that, but do you see the fact that you're going to have so many home games in front of the fans at Goodwin Field?
Well, you hope you have the home field advantage, but when you're playing quality opponents, it's just you got to go out there and do your job. And that's the thing is the schools that are playing, they're in town, so they've reached out and we had openings, and I thought it'd be a good fit for them, like especially Tulane in Utah. I think we have Arizona coming in. It's just people, like I said, that's how the scheduling goes. You're just communicating with coaches, other schools, checking your calendar, see if it works and fits. So for us, it just happened that we're getting a lot of games at home at the beginning and see how that is. And hopefully, like I said, it does help us having the home field advantage, and we're playing good baseball, and you have the community and the fans coming and support us. So that's the excitement part. We just got to make sure we're, like I said, doing what we're supposed to do and playing good baseball.
Well, I hope that the fans appreciate the fact that you've got 30 home games and 26 on the road, so they're going to get to see a lot of the Titans here at Goodwin Field, where you're not going to be road warriors. So let's talk a little bit more about fall practices. Give us your overall impression coming out of fall practices.
I enjoyed it. I thought fall was good. I thought we got a lot accomplished. It wasn't like last year. We kind of had to take a step back and kind of just get to know the team at a high level and kind of let them do a lot of things where we were just evaluating them. This fall, it was more organized and structured of the things that we wanted to do and to implement, because we knew the incoming guys and all the returners. So a big incoming class, but the returners, I think about 16 guys. So we had a good game plan, and I think and felt that we executed the way we wanted to, and we saw a lot of things that are positive and a lot of things that we still need to work on. And that's where you always get to the back end of fall and you're always wanting to do more, because you're like, okay, we figured some things out, or God, we need to work on this and that, and then you're like, gosh, it's time's up. So our window's done, but that's what's going to keep us hungry and keep our players hungry when they come back from the winter break, and get themselves going, because when they get back, you're, like I said, 5 weeks away from starting the season. So we like what we saw in regards to many different areas, but like I said, we still have a lot of work to do.
Anything specific you and the coaches saw in the first scrimmage at Washington State that you liked and that you needed to work on more before you went out to UNLV?
I think that it was good to see, like I said, a lot of new guys. So it was crazy thing, that was our second scrimmage. So no excuses. Our hitters didn't really see a lot of live pitching heading into Washington State, and that was their last game and their last practice of fall. So I thought they pitched well, and our guys had a little bit of a tough time making adjustments, but that's kind of, we knew that would happen. I thought we got out of some situations, some big situations from pitching and defense perspective. But for the most part, I thought I played pretty solid defense. It's kind of the games I thought kind of went pretty decent, because I thought both teams were throwing strikes, and so, putting in play and getting kind of outs. But I thought we did pretty decent that game, to be honest with you. It was good to kind of get a feel and get out there and see how the returners came back against live, pitching, then to see the new guys against, another opponent in the dugout, and kind of see the whole team in general, how we reacted and how we acted and how we did things in the dugout and their preparation and all that stuff. So that's always good to monitor and check out, and so we can help them continuously work on their routines and all the small details that go in with the game.
And then same question coming out of the scrimmage at UNLV. It was a road trip, but still a scrimmage situation.
Yeah, UNLV I thought was different personally. I didn't think that I thought our pitching was very below average. We walked a lot of guys. We put a lot of guys on base. They did a good job of getting hits when they needed to. So I thought the pitching for me was below average. I thought our offense was solid. I thought they did a good job. UNLV has some good arms, and I thought our guys did a pretty good job. But it's like anything, you're always wanting a little more. Our guys fought, did some things good, and then, like I said, there's some guys put in situations that we want to see how they can handle them. But it's always good just to go on the road to give our guys a chance, a little snapshot of what it's like to get away, be on a bus for 4.5 hours, sleeping overnight, getting up early, being at the field all day. Some guys haven't played in a while, so can they handle coming off the bench maybe after they're not playing for 3 hours? So there's things that you just kind of want them to experience and see how they do, and I thought our guys handled everything pretty good. But like I said, I just a little disappointed in the pitching. That was kind of something that I knew our guys just didn't go out there and execute the way we wanted to, and that kind of was just something that, hopefully that we keep talking about and addressing and getting our guys better.
And then continuing the tradition that you started last year, the 2023 Titans were broken up into the Orange team and then the Navy team competing against each other in the 3-game series, which the Orange squad ended up winning 2-1. What did this crop of Titans show you and the rest of the coaching staff coming out of the intra-squad series, that Navy-Orange series?
Well, first of all, it's good that Game 3, it was on the line. They won, Orange won, and then they lost, and so Game 3 meant something. Not saying it shouldn't mean something, but sometimes you get the first 2, and a team wins the first 2. You want to see, obviously, what they're made of also, but that's why we try to challenge them and put something on the line. So going to Game 3, it was good to see that winner take all, and we put things on the line for them, whether it be food or what have you, to challenge them to stay a little motivated, and that's what we saw. I thought the competitive juices were flowing for both teams, and I thought there's a lot of talking going on between dugouts. We kind of needed to help them. Personally, I thought Game 3 was not the best of games. It was, like 16 walks, but in the same token, we use that as learning lessons to help our guys know that they're given opportunities, and some guys are just trying to do too much, and we try to do too much. That's usually not a good thing. So it's all learning lessons to help them understand still the game of baseball. So the youngins, the new guys, when they're trying to do too much, it's not going to help them. But hopefully those scenarios and those situations and those games that they're having will help them learn to try to keep it simple and try to get back to just playing the game that they know. And when we come back in January, that not to put too much pressure on themselves, because, like I said, that Sunday game was kind of a long one, but in the end, like I said, someone's got to win. The Orange team won. So it's always good to see the guys. We give captains, and they run it, and they do it. We want them to have some ownership of the lineups, the pitching changes, and all that stuff. And so it's good to kind of see how their minds think and to see how they interact and lead and help their guys. And so it was good to – I always like it because, like I said, you get to see a lot of different things from different perspectives from both dugouts.
So you broke it up, and then there was a team captain or co-captains for each team, and they were essentially like player managers?
Pretty much, yes. That's how we did it in the past, and we want them to have a little more ownership and come up the lineups and come up who's starting and who's first out of the pen, and if you're close to the ball game, who would you go to? So we give them, and they can talk amongst each other. They're the main guys that kind of run it, and we have to do it where it's even. So it's predetermined how we have to match up players. The draft is kind of it's an interesting process, but it's one that we feel we want to make it as even as possible, as competitive as possible. So as a coaching staff, we put certain guys at every different spot and matching up pitchers together and position players together, and that's how we feel it's the best and it's going to be the most competitive to give us a good Blue-Orange series.
So do the team captains do the draft, or do the coaches kind of mentor and say, okay, you took a left-hander, now the other guy has to take a left-hander, or how does that kind of work out?
It's just there's guys already matched up. So say if I'm matched up with you, someone picks me, you go to the other team. That's how we match it up to make it as equal as possible. If we feel like you and I are pretty similar in comparison, then we want to make it as even, so both teams are getting guys that we feel are the same talent level, so to speak. And that's fair for the teams to compete at a high level, because we don't want to be lopsided where maybe one captain's going left and you're like, hey, he's picking the wrong guys. So we don't do it. We let the captains do it. And the coaches we're picked on a team too. So they pick, hey, these 3 coaches are on this team and the other 3 go on the other team. So we're giving them a lot of ownership. We like that. We want to see how they handle things. And we're there to be a sounding board and to give them advice, but we want them to, in essence, kind of do everything themselves so we can, like I said, see how they operate and see what their mindset's like and what they're doing.
Were you on orange or blue?
Orange.
Of course, right? Yeah. From the Washington State scrimmage, the Navy Orange series, and a handful of practice, personally, I watched. A few of the guys really stood out to me that had a good fall. I thought that Nate Nankil looked like he really has found his power swing, and then he's seeing the ball well, in my opinion. Max Ortega, the freshman from up north, really looked comfortable behind the plate, un-freshman-like, in my opinion. And the biggest surprise for me was Eli Lopez, who seemed to be always on base, creating havoc, making solo plays defensively. Can you touch on those 3 specifically with your thoughts on their fall? Yeah,
I thought Nate Nankil had a really good fall. I think he just kind of carried over his summer. He had a really good summer. Started off in the Cape and finished up in the Northwoods League. And I think he just came back a little more confidence, a little more understanding of his swing, and just trusting in that, not trying to do too much. And that's where I felt like he just went up there and competed. Nate's he's awesome. He's a good player, but also he's just a good young man that works hard. And so, yeah, excited to see what the spring is. Hopefully they take the same mindset heading into spring and not want to do too much. Eli Lopez had a good fall. He did. He's a little spark plug. He's a energy. He can play numerous positions, and he came in showing that I want to play, and he was kind of screaming that, so to speak. And you want them to have that same mindset come in spring also. So he's done a great job. You're correct with Max Ortega. I think he's very mature for his age, for being a freshman. He did a good job behind the plate. Also, he had good at-bats. But like I said, he has a good presence to him. We like how he goes about his business. We're excited for his future, especially having Cole Ehrman there ahead of him, and for him to challenge Cole, to learn from him, but also push him and be ready to go. Like I said, that's the best thing you want. It's competition everywhere. And I know Max did a good job, and we're excited to see what he can do when his name's called in spring.
Those were the three that kind of jumped off the page or out of the field for me. But are there any others that really made an impression on you and the coaching staff?
I think Colby Wallace, outfielder, he did a good job. He had a couple little minor tweaks in his body and fall, but he was showing a lot of promise, and he's healthy now. So we're excited to see what he can do. I thought Trevor Hinkle finished up well. And he's going to transfer out of Pepperdine. I think he has huge potential. JoJo Ingrassia, left-handed pitcher, I thought he did a good job. He showcased well throughout the back end of fall, showing his promise. Like I said, he's another guy that I think we're going to count on. Draven Nushida had a great blue-orange series. He's been kind of quiet. He's a quiet guy, but he just goes about his business. He works hard in practice, but he kind of shined in the blue-orange. Like I said, I thought nothing fazed him. He was out there competing at a high level, so it's fun to see him. Like I said, there's other guys, but that's where I'm always singling out those guys just because they kind of come to mind. But like I said, we're excited to see other new guys and returners do what they're capable of doing. So it'll be fun.
Obviously, being a pitching guy, we know that only 3 guys can start on the weekends. And fortunately, Tyler Stoltz, Finn Chester, Evan Yates were all weekend starters last season, and they all returned. Which other guys excited you this fall? You touched on Trevor Hinkle and JoJo, but I think maybe JoJo might be more of a back-end bullpen guy. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you how to coach. Which other guys excited you this fall with a chance to challenge for a weekend spot?
Well, I think Trevor Hinkle is going to be a guy that definitely is put himself. He pitched on Saturdays at Pepperdine. I think he has the pedigree to pitch on the weekends. I think JoJo can, but he might be more valuable. The bullpen, we'll see. I think that's what we'll see come January, leading up to the first game against Stanford. I think Ryan Falks, another kid who's got 3 to 4 pitches for strikes. Fortunately, he had a couple setbacks in fall, so we didn't get a chance to watch him a lot. But I think it's in there. I thought Peyton Jones did a good job too. I think he's shown maturity. He's come back with 4 pitches. He's competing at a high level. And to me, when you have 4 pitches, usually 3 pitches are good for the weekend. But he's shown he's at 4 pitches, and like I say, he's competing at a high level. So he's someone that I'd like to see what he can do. Obviously, Finn and Stoltz are guys that have some experience and background. But those are guys I think right now that kind of come out to me of guys that we're to see what they can do, and probably match them up and when we come back in January to kind of compete against each other and see who can do what and who's wanting to take a job and start on the weekend, at least start against Stanford, to figure out who those 3 guys will be.
Are there any kind of front runners for the 8th and 9th potential closers?
To be honest with you, no, we haven't. I'd like to get Gavin Meyer healthy. He's a freshman that did a good job last year. He's been feeling good, so it'll be exciting to see him compete against the guys in January. So I think he's someone we'd like to see. But no, there's really no one, like I said, maybe JoJo, but right now there's not a clear-cut back-end guy, and that's something that hopefully we can figure out leading up to Stanford. And if it doesn't work at Stanford, then we just keep on working to figure out who can handle those moments and pitch at the level needed to close out a ball game. But there's some guys we're thinking about, but we won't really know, I don't think, until leading up to the Stanford series, and hopefully a guy or 2 guys will separate themselves showing that they can handle that job.
Well, National Signing Day followed the Blue-Orange series, and we got specifics about each signee from Coach Bolofsky. What are your overall thoughts on this year's signing class?
I like everything. I think we really did our best to address the areas that we felt are important. As you know, selfishly, I love pitching, but pitching is what's going to get you to where you want to go. And I think we really got a great core of pitchers that we're excited. Hopefully, selfishly, they don't get too good in spring, which you want them to be good. So pro teams are not trying to see if they're going to want to sign, but we have some guys I think that fall in that category. But that's a good thing for them because, like I said, we feel like they have that potential, whether it be now or 3 years from now. So we're excited for the pitchers and the position players. I like them. I think we addressed everything that we wanted: the athleticism, their makeup, their energy, and they're coming and competing for jobs. So we feel like we've attacked the areas. We still have probably a player or two that we need to address and get for the class. But for the early signing period, everything that Coach Bolofsky and Coach Walton have done, I'm excited. And again, they're great young men, first and foremost, but they love the game of baseball, all these guys, and so we're excited that they're part of the Titan program.
Well, 7 of the 11 signees were all arms, so I'm sure that puts a smile on your face.
Yes.
A couple more questions. So what's on tap for you, the coaching staff, and the players between now and then the new year and then the official practices starting back up?
Well, right now it's a week before finals, and our guys have finals next week. So what it is for us is kind of a little bit of a downtime where we can kind of just reflect on the fall a little more, have a game plan coming up for when the guys voluntarily come back January 9th if they want to show up and get some work in, because with the NCAA rules, we don't start up school until, I think, the 23rd. So we will give them suggested practices if those guys show up. And like I said, for now, it's just them. We want them to finish strong in the classroom, do well, and then they're going to be on their own. We've given them all programs and workouts to do from our strength coach. For myself, I gave all the pitchers and Coach Walton and Coach Bilo and Coach Pav, gave all the position players their throwing programs, hitting programs, conditioning. So we gave them programs to do, and that's where I feel like it's going to be their accountability and their discipline to go out and do that and come back in a month later showing that they're excited and they've been working hard and they're ready to go. So that's the one thing I think most coaches maybe have a little bit of a doubt in their mind, because these are 18 and 23-year-olds, and are they driven enough? We feel our guys are to stay disciplined and go out there and compete, but also do the stuff on their own. So that's kind of what it is. Early January, we head out to the coaches convention in Nashville with Coach Horton and George Horton and Don Sneddon getting inducted to the ABCA Hall of Fame. So we're excited to support them and be there for them because they're awesome. And that's what we'll do that for 4 days, and we fly back on the 8th. And then, like I said, the voluntary workouts start on the 9th, and then our first official practice will be on the 27th, the same night, dinner with the Titans, and then the alumni games the next day, that Saturday, the 28th. So, yeah, we'll get a little bit of a breather right now, and then, but like I said, we'll do little things to lead up to be ready. We're always recruiting, as you can imagine, but we're just kind of monitoring and kind of, like I said, taking a little downtime for ourselves so we can recharge our batteries too, so we're ready to go when the guys get back.
Well, I was going to end on the dinner with the Titans on January 27th with Michael Lorenzen as the keynote speaker. And the alumni game follows the next day. Not a whole lot of practice time to be able to prepare for potentially facing some major leaguers.
Yeah, that's fine. It'll be good for our guys, right? Get out there and figure it out. So that's the great thing about our alumni. They're awesome guys, but they're also very talented, and it'll be fun to see how our guys handle it. But that day is always awesome. It's great to get everyone out here. The alumni, it's a special alumni here. They care. They have so much passion for the program, and they just love coming out here and talking some good stuff to our players. And that's the fun part I enjoy, because it's just awesome. It's fun to see them. And yeah, our guys, we'll have some scrimmages. They'll be, voluntary scrimmages. Before that, they'll be doing stuff on their own. So the captains can run it, and we feel that they'll get what they need to get out of it to be ready. And then when we have that alumni game, we can see where we're at. And then, as you know, we'll be 3 weeks away from opening Stanford. So it comes quick, but that's the kind of the exciting part too, of seeing where we're at and how we continuously grow and move forward.
And then talk to me a little bit about the dinner with the Titans on the January 27th. Obviously excited to have Michael Lorenzen be, he's right down the street with the Angels and being able to be the keynote speaker, literally across the parking lot from where he plays at the Grove. Talk to me a little bit more about the dinner with the Titans and how important that is.
That's our big fundraiser. So the support we get from, all the donors and all this community and all the alumni, it's huge for us. That's our big event, and it's a great event. It's run well. We have so many people behind the scenes that do a great job. You've been to many of them, and it's, blessed and asked Michael if he'd want to be involved, and Michael's a big supporter of the program, and for him to say yes, we're excited and thankful and appreciative, because those guys are busy. They're getting ready for the big league camp, and they got a lot of stuff going on in their life. But at the end of the day, Michael and many alumni care about this program and say they want to do everything they can to help. So it was awesome to ask him. He was honored, and like I said, he's gonna nail it. Having coached him his junior year, and to see how far he's grown since 2013, it's been awesome. He's so proud of the guy and what he's doing, not just in the game of baseball, but in life. He recently just had his daughter was born over a month ago, so he's expanding his family and growing up, and like I said, he's doing good things. We're excited to see who he signs with. Hopefully he's with the Angels again. But yeah, you really think about it. It was 10 years ago that he was playing, and he's been in the big leagues for 7 years. So just a testament of his hard work and the things that he does. And so we're excited to have him as the keynote speaker, and love to have a lot of people come to support and just enjoy a night of hanging out and talking baseball, talking about the team, and talking about the future Titan baseball.
Thanks for listening to the 1544 Miles to Omaha podcast. Feel free to visit our website, calstateomaha.com. While there, you can order an official Cal State Omaha t-shirt from the merch store. Make sure to view the show notes to learn more about today's guest and to follow them on social media. The 1544 Miles to Omaha podcast is an On the Lam Enterprises production and is not affiliated with Cal State Fullerton or Titan Baseball.